you are familiar with the word surroundings. You have heard statements like, "The surroundings of the school are beautiful," or "The surroundings of the market are not clean." By surroundings, we mean the area around a certain person or thing. Things like animals, plants, air, soil in our surroundings have much to do with life. All those things around us which are related to our life are together called our environment. All living things, air, water, soil, sunlight are all components of our environment. All animals, big and small, insects, microorganisms, all plants, that is, all living things are called the biotic elements of the environment. Water, sunlight, soil, air, chemicals mixed with the air and water, smoke, gases, etc. are called the abiotic elements of the environment. The living and non-living things in the environment are interrelated. Every living thing gets its food from its environment. Many animals eat plants. These plants grow by absorbing water and nutrients from the soil. Microorganisms in the soil decompose vegetable refuse, plant waste, excreta of animals, remains of living things, etc., and convert them into manure. Every living thing gets oxygen from the air. Plants use the carbon dioxide given out by living things during respiration to make food. The way the living and non-living elements of the environment affect each other is called their interaction. There are numerous examples of such interaction, and they are extremely complex. Discuss. What are locusts? Migratory insect of warm regions having short antennae. What happens to the crops in an area attacked by locusts? The crops are destroyed. If the number of frogs and birds which live on insects decrease, the number of insects increases. What will be the effect on the agricultural industry if there is an increase in the numbers of insects that destroy crops? The environment is useful, and not just for necessities like food, water, and air. If the factors marked with a cross in the picture of the food chain are destroyed, how will it affect the other factors? They depend on each other for their survival. Hence, the food chain are destroyed. Many different living things find shelter in the environment. Animals like the tiger and deer live amongst the grass in the forests, while many birds make their nests in trees. If forest area decrease, such animals do not find proper shelter. As a result, the number of these animals also decreases, and other animals dependent upon them for food are deprived of it. If even one element of the environment is disturbed or damaged, it has an effect on its relationship with other elements, and the balance of the environment as a whole is disturbed. When wastewater carrying harmful chemicals enters a lake, it affects all living things in the lake. If such water seeps into the soil, not only does soil become infertile, but useful microorganisms in the soil are also destroyed. Discuss. In recent years, there have been incidents of a leopard having entered a village and killed a dog or a person. This did not happen as often previously. What is the reason for this? When forest areas decrease, such animals do not find proper shelter. Hence, they enter villages. Collect news items. We sometimes hear of some harmful effects on populations of fish or birds. The causes of these harmful effects are also given in the reports. Select such news items. The continuous conversion of the water on the Earth's surface into vapor to form clouds, and its return to the earth as rain constitutes one of nature's cycles, called the water cycle. The growth of plants using substances in the soil and the continuous addition of the nutritive substances to soil due to the decomposition of the remains of plants is another important cycle in nature. Living things use oxygen from the atmosphere for respiration. The carbon dioxide they exhale is used by plants to make their food. This process again releases oxygen back into the atmosphere. Thus, there are several such cycles in nature. If any one of them is disturbed, it has an adverse effect on the environment. These effects have to be borne by many living things. Besides, it takes very long to restore the smooth running of the disturbed cycle. That is why we must be constantly alert to ensure that the environment is not harmed due to any carelessness on our part. Think, discuss, and find answers. Nowadays, some poisonous chemicals are sprayed on crops to prevent diseases or to prevent pests and insects from attacking the plant. What do you think are the dangers of overusing the chemicals? Fertility of soil decreases. Water also gets polluted. If a large dam is built in a dry, famine-prone area, which living things will grow in number? Plants will grow in number. Whose numbers will reduce? Wild animals may face extinction, vegetation and forest will be lost, people may get displaced. You might have heard about the Bhopal tragedy. Some years ago, in a chemical factory, poisonous gases leaked out and spread in a large area around the factory. The poisonous gas killed about 4,000 people at that time. Thousands of people became permanently disabled. The leaking gas killed thousands of cows, buffaloes, and goats too. Trees in a vast area shed their leaves. The ground below the trees was covered with dead birds too. It was impossible to estimate the number of birds killed in this tragic incident. The ozone umbrella. The gaseous envelope around the Earth is called the atmosphere. In the layer of the atmosphere, which lies between the altitudes of 17 km and 26 km, there is a gas called ozone. Although ozone is not necessary for the day-to-day survival of living things, the existence of this ozone layer high up in the atmosphere surrounding the Earth is very important for them. This layer acts like a protective umbrella. There are some harmful rays in sunlight. It can be dangerous for living things if these rays reach the Earth. These rays can destroy some living things. It can cause harm to other living things too. As sunlight passes through the ozone layer on its way to the Earth, it absorbs much of these rays. Thus, it prevents the rays from reaching us and causing any harm. In the past few years, it has been noticed that the ozone layer is becoming thinner. In some places, it has almost disappeared. This has given rise to new dangers like global warming, melting of ice at the Earth's poles, which causes a rise in sea level, increase in the incidence of dangerous diseases like cancer of the skin. Efforts are on all over the world to find out what causes the ozone layer to become thinner and how to stop this from happening. In order to emphasize the importance of ozone, 16th September is observed as Ozone Day every year.